Hi everyone. So I'm Laura Jury from the South Devon Players Theatre and Film Company, and today I was asked to talk to Business Women in Torbay, the Facebook group, but also obviously I shall make this available further afield over time, about marketing for arts events and creative organisations. Now, running a theatre and film group in Torbay is very, very difficult to do professionally, and so you have to do everything on a really tight shoestring. So over time I've learnt how to do it pretty much for next to nothing. In general terms, I will pay for a few very specific poster placements for shows, and normally £10 per event on Facebook sponsored marketing, and really that's about it. The rest is just the cost of postage and printing and that kind of thing. So the most important thing to consider when you're marketing an event is what other people want to know. When you've got your own product or event, you know all about that product or event, but you've also got to put yourself in the place of the people who are looking at the adverts and finding out what information they might want to know. Now, I started absolutely from scratch. I read 500,000 marketing textbooks. I did take some good elements out of them, but overall I've been finding my own way with arts marketing, and in honesty, I still am. So the first point is to put yourself in the place of a person looking at the advert. And when I wasn't sure what people might want to know, I went out onto internet forums and Facebook groups, and in some cases with disability groups and things like that, I actually visited support organisations to speak to people and get their feedback from the horse's mouth. So in very general terms, people will want to know what your product or event is like. So you might want to show photos of rehearsals, photos of the work in progress, any links to previous work that you've done, photos and videos of past shows, awards, anything like that is absolutely brilliant. And you'll also want to tell them a little bit about the company, because different companies will attract different people. You might have people that would like to support only a youth event or only an adults event and whereas we kind of cross all those tick boxes, as it were, people still like to know a little bit about who you are and what you've done before. With regard to events, people also like to know about the accessibility, and I divide that into two sections. One is the physical accessibility of the event. So you could be looking at, for example, does your venue allow for wheelchairs, service dogs, people with anxiety, things like that might want to sit near a door where they can step out and calm down if they need to. That's probably all the wrong words, and I apologise. And you might want to look at hearing loops, that kind of thing in very basic terms. And then with regard to the context, people will usually, the same as going to see a film, want to know if there's swearing or nudity or violence. Strobe lighting is very important because some neurological conditions are affected by those. And one that I've learnt recently, loud sound effects, can also be mentioned up ahead of time, because some people on the autistic spectrum might find it difficult to deal with loud noise, or at least want to know to expect it before it happens. And then, of course, there's the cost. So people will want to know straight up what the event costs them to go and see. And other feedback that's very useful to include is where the nearest car parks are, where the nearest bus stops or train stations are, and the running time of your event, so that people know when to plan their parking or public transport for. So that's the straight up information that people will want to see. Now, starting right from when you begin the project, start putting information about it on your website, on your social media, and anywhere you can. Start talking about it, because people won't just respond to an advertisement saying, come to this event, come and buy my product. They'll want to see how it's been developed. So from the point of view of theatre, we'll show photos selected from rehearsals, right from the day of casting, straight through all the little triumphs and backstage events, and just when somebody's been beautifully in character, show a picture of that, show the first day the costumes come in, anything like that builds interest, shows the work in progress, and it reaches more people, obviously, over time, and it shows people they really are getting a product that's been worked very hard on, rather than something that's just off the shelf and appeared out of nowhere. The other very good thing with showing cast and crew, again talking from a completely theatre perspective, is that especially in a small area like Torbay, people know other people and they will want to support their friends or family or acquaintances in the event. So that's also very good for your ticket sales. Another thing to bear in mind, and this is constantly changing and it'll change again, is that not everyone is online. We are in Torbay in an area with a very high retired demographic. Now, many of those retired people are online. My mother in her 80s is most definitely online, although she doesn't like social media. But you've got to bear in mind that, as a horribly stereotypical rule, the older generation will respond probably better to posters and flyers and newspaper articles and radio listings and more the old-fashioned ways of getting the word out, whereas at the same time you must not neglect the younger demographic, which is where you're using Facebook and Twitter as your main sources of spreading the word online. Instagram's really good for showing photos and videos. The great thing with Instagram is if you do the settings right, you can cross-post instantly to Facebook, Twitter and Tumblr, so you're getting the word out further. And there is a local social media site called Nextdoor, which, although much quieter, has a really good local following, and I found you get good responses from. When you've done all that, start looking at the paid advertising. Now, the different social medias work slightly differently. On Facebook, you can find regional and local events listings groups where you can cut and paste your poster and your event information to, but in general terms, it's best not to do that more than once a week, and always check with the group rules, because different groups will have different moderator rules on that. Facebook is the only place that I use online paid advertising, and normally a fortnight to a week before an event, I will put a £10 lifetime budget on a paid advert on Facebook, and I will then set the demographics. What people often find with Facebook is that they don't narrow their recipient range for the ads enough, and so it goes all around the world and lots of people see it, but not so many would come. So for example, I've just done one for the auditions for A Midsummer Night's Dream, and on that I narrowed the location for the ads to a 30-mile radius of Brixham, where the auditions are happening, which does include Plymouth and Exeter. And then I narrowed it again with interests. So the adverts will only show to people with an interest in theatre, acting and Shakespeare. So I'm narrowing the whole thing right down, and that's when the responses have again already started to come in from that, and I only set it last night. On Twitter and Instagram, your hashtags are really important. Use the title of your show or the title of your event or product, both something very specific and something generic, even using the word theatre as a hashtag for a theatre show. Use the local town name where your event is on as a hashtag, and that's where you'll get the interest and reach the most people from on there. And then finally, look on Google. Over the years, I've looked on Google for free events listings websites. Some are national, some are local, some are international with a local section. And you can get hundreds of sites. I've got a notebook of about 300 in total. That's over years of looking. And some appear, some disappear. But it's well worth using at least some of those. Even the ones that appear on the first 2 pages of Google search results. It is fiddly. You're filling in a lot of online forms repeatedly and tearing your hair out, but again, it increases the reach of your work on Google, so that, for example, the other day I was looking back for an old show of ours, a performance of Jack the Ripper, and I'd actually lost some poster images over time since we did the event. They showed up on Google and I was able to retrieve them from actually having left details still in the archives of some of the event sites. And again, with the Google events websites, you get less response, so it's not the immediate priority, but it's still really important, I think, to use. You want to put the word out as much as you've got the time to do, and yeah, I fell over my own words there. So, where are we on? We're on 11 minutes, that's fine. And I've got no idea how long the Facebook group wants me to talk for. So I'm just trying to give you a rough basic. Now, posters are really good to get out and about. A lot of shops will take them for an event normally 4 weeks. I learnt this very quickly in our early days. Normally 4 weeks in advance. You don't want them out too early because people just get used to them and don't pay attention to them. And you don't want them out too late because people won't be able to plan for them or plan to go to the event. So about 4 weeks is just about as right as you can get it. If it's a local event, if it's a charity event, a lot of shops will put them up for free. There are a couple of shops that I will pay for. They don't put things up for free because they're inundated with posters, and they are really good locations on busy crossroads and that. So then I do pay the fee, and it's only 50p a week, so you know it's well worth doing. You can obviously go to print-on-demand sites for flyers and do door-to-door leaflet drops. I've heard various feedback. One place where I help on a voluntary basis feels that they don't work so much and that it's a big waste of paper. And with my own company, I've had very good responses to events where I've had audience members in the theatre bar afterwards telling me that they knew about the event because a leaflet came through their door. So, yeah, even with 2 organisations that I work with, the feedback on how effective they are is very, very different. With regard to newspaper articles, that's always quite a difficult one. What the newspaper wants is an interesting story or a paid advertisement. If you're going for a paid advertisement, that's obviously with a big budget, well, medium to bigger budget, certainly what I'd consider a bigger budget. And if you're going down the news article, you want something of interest, so it's something new that's happening in the local area, maybe somebody famous is supporting your project, maybe an award has been won, maybe your event links to local history or culture and helps expand on that and increase participation. But you've got to look for a news story rather than just a, hey, my show is great, come and see it. Press releases are quite good to do, very good to do. The newspapers will often cut and paste, almost cut and paste them, so make sure it's written ready as if it was a newspaper article. and on Google there are a lot of free templates on how to structure a press release really clearly, and I've used those, and my uptake of press releases has gone up largely since then. So those are the easiest ways to advertise a creative event. You can go down all sorts of roads of blogging, video blogs, street events, flash mobs, costumed walkabouts. The list of things that you can do is endless, and it's really only limited by time and manpower, or person power, to do. So anyway, I hope these ideas have helped a little. I am currently in Facebook jail. Quite hilariously, we did a show last weekend, and I then posted a picture of a sandwich, or rather a tray of sandwiches, that my cast and crew were given by the venue, basically as part of a post to say thank you to the venue, and Facebook decided that the image was somehow not allowed, and so I'm not able to post personally on any groups that I don't admin for a week. So if you've got any questions, add them into the comments here, or send a Facebook message to the South Devon Players Theatre and Film Company page, and I will answer you as soon as Facebook allow me to. So yes, I hope that's helpful. I hope that you've got something out of it. I'm going to leave this on YouTube permanently anyway, and yeah, I hope to do other talks about things in future, and if I can help with anything, never ever worry about getting in touch, because given half a chance and given the time, I want to help, and that I want to liaise with other businesses, other local people, and yeah, so thank you very much for listening.